Your Holiness, Ambassador Shukla, Shri Vijay Kranti, Shri Vikas Arya, our publisher of the book, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor and privilege to welcome His Holiness to Vivekananda Foundation and also welcome you to this very special occasion. Is Tibet a closed chapter of history? This question has been rankling the minds of security experts, historians, international jurists, and spiritual and civilizational leaders. In the short span of time when you look at life, the present appears to be perpetuity. It appears that what exists will remain forever. But if you go through the course of history, there is nothing constant about history. It keeps on changing. There's only one thing that does not change. And that thing is what has not changed in the past. Anything that has changed in the past will change in the future as well. But anything that has remained unchanged will continue. And that is why in the Indic civilizations, when we talk about Sanatan Dharma, we talk about continuity of the soul, we talk about spirituality, it means that we are not able to trace its origin. We don't say from which point it started, because if it has got a point of start, it has got a point of termination. And we consider the great Buddhist tradition, the great tradition of Tibet that you bring with it, the Lamaism and all the rest of that, which is actually a continuous civilization journey, a spiritual journey, which probably is not going to fade away, obliterated or forgotten by the future history. Probably it has got an import for the entire world, but it has got a special import for India. Tibet over centuries had closest possible spiritual, temporal, people-to-people contacts. We have influenced each other in more than one ways. We continue to influence each other. A large number of things which happen to you in Tibet has got implications for us. And what happens to India and where India gets into the international orbit of this thing will also affect what will be the future destiny of Tibet. We had always known, we may not have had the type of the Westphalian concept of nationhood at that time. We may not have the demarcated boundaries with the boundary pillars. But we had always known and understood Tibet as a separate identity and an entity. And even from the modern standards, the fact that Tibet was an independent entity has been accepted by a large number of experts. I would just like to quote from the Legal Inquiry Committee of the Commission of the International Legal Inquiry Committee of the International Commission of Jurists, and I quote what they had felt about the status of Tibet. They say Tibet demonstrated from 1913 to 1950 the conditions of statehood as generally accepted under international law. In 1950, there was a people and a territory and a government that functioned in this territory, conducting its own domestic affairs free from any outside authority. From 1913 to 1950, foreign relations of Tibet were conducted exclusively by the government of Tibet and countries with whom Tibet had foreign relations, and are shown by official documents to have treated Tibet as an independent state. This is a judicial verdict. This is the verdict of the world's top jurists, a committee that was commissioned specially to go into the political reality of the country. And it was their verdict. It is a very intriguing and a sad commentary that when in San Francisco the Charter of United Nations was drafted, it started with some very impressive writings. And I quote, "Faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human persons, in the equal rights of men and women and of nations large and small, and to establish conditions under which justice and respect for the obligations arising from treaties and other sources of international law shall be maintained." That was the basic principle on which the entire international relations were supposed to rest upon. It was expected that that will be the governing theme, philosophy and doctrine of interrelations between the countries. It is sad that even before the ink was dried on this resolution of this UN Charter, that Tibet was invaded. That was sad by itself, but what was sadder was that the world did not respond. Particularly seeing those circumstances and the setting in terms of time, when the United Nations had just got its UN Charter accepted by the entire world. There was the experience of the World War behind us, and the world was looking for peace. The world was looking for freedom, dignity, respect for human beings. That is Tibet got trampled, and nothing, no response to that was available. I think this is a point to ponder for most of the countries, but for India it's of very, very great significance. Of course, our civilizational, cultural, spiritual ties are very old, and I don't think that I have to elaborate on that. But we have also got a problem. We have got a large number, about 1 billion people of Tibetan origin who live in this country, and without any status. They are neither the refugees, nor the citizens of this country, not even stateless persons. There is no defined status of those people who are there and what are they. From 1950 till now, I think there needs to have a policy. We can accept them as refugees so that they are covered by the definition of refugees, are entitled for the rights and privileges of the refugee. We can even tell they are stateless persons, so they have got an identity. So, the question of Tibet is very intricately related to this question of the people who, for their conviction, who were persecuted because they believed in a particular way of life, they for centuries had followed a particular way of life and probably were forced out of their hearts and homes for such a long time. We are happy that in the Vivekananda Foundation, we have been taking up this cause very seriously. We have been fortunate to have His Holiness the Dalai Lama visiting us. We also had Pupa who came twice, addressed us and discussed with us. We have the representative here from the Tibetan Bureau who has been closely interacting with us, and we have been thinking in what way we can add and we can contribute to the great cause. We had certain seminars, we had discussions, and I must thank my colleague, Ambassador Shukla, a very distinguished diplomat who was our ambassador in Russia and Australia and Singapore, who took the trouble of compiling this book and bringing out this book on Tibet that probably we'll be releasing today. It is not only the book. It is not the book only for the purpose that, well, it's there. We would like the cause to be taken and spread. We would like more and more people to identify themselves, understand what the basic problem in Tibet is and how we can solve it. What is there that we can do to give that sense of dignity, honor, and basic human rights to the people of Tibet. I think once again I would like to thank and express my gratitude to His Holiness for agreeing to come and release this book. And before I request him, I think I'll ask Mr. Shukla to tell us more about the book and its details and how we think that it is a very, very important contribution in the cause of Tibet. Thank you very much. I think this was to be followed by the launch of the book, Tibet Perspectives and Prospects, and then I think I will request Mr. Shukla. So may I request His Holiness to kindly launch.